builds a bond, waiting to unfold. Every written letter starts to breathe when a voice in English helps them believe. Close your eyes, leave time behind. A book opens up and worlds align. Stories that find their voice, crossing oceans with no need for choice. From every book, a brand new light. Stories told in.
Welcome to this corner where words come to life. Here, every story opens a door to new worlds, and every chapter is a journey we will travel together. Get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let the magic of storytelling surround you. The story begins. When Hogwarts' ancient magic broke, one student was chosen. Chapter 1. The Threshold of a New World. Before Amelia could attempt further conversation, Bramblethorn called the next name. The rest of the sorting passed in a blur. Amelia barely registered the final students being placed, though she noted Lucas beaming when the pool cast an amber glow, ether-shaping. He gave her an encouraging grin from across the chamber. She tried to smile back, but her mind still buzzed with that unsettling crimson-black glow. When Bramblethorn at last lowered the parchment, he clapped his hands once. Welcome, all of you, to Aldengrove Academy. Your branch mentors await through the archways. Follow them to your dormitories and prepare for supper. A tall woman emerged from the crimson archway, a veil-winding mentor, judging by her robes, which looked woven from layers of moving shadow. Her eyes were pale gold, sharp as a hawk's. Veilwinders, she said. With me. Amelia followed her, and the other two students, through the archway. The chamber behind them shimmered, its glow fading as if relieved to release them. The veil-winding halls, the corridors beyond the archway twisted like a maze. The walls were painted with murals of shifting patterns, spirals, interlocking crescents, silhouettes that changed every time Amelia blinked. The torches lining the hall cast shadows that moved with impossible independence. The mentor, the woman with hawk-like eyes, walked briskly, her steps precise and silent. I am Professor Selwyn, she said without looking back. Your branch instructor for illusions, subperception, and veilcraft theory. She gestured at the murals. Veilwinding is not simply the art of hiding. It is the art of perceiving beyond the surface. What seems invisible is often merely overlooked. Amelia listened intently. The air felt heavier here, charged with an energy very different from the sorting chamber. It prickled at her skin, as though the hallway itself were observing her. Professor Selwyn turned left, then right, then down a descending staircase that spiraled like a corkscrew. Amelia lost her sense of direction quickly. Do not worry if these corridors confuse you at first, Selwyn said, perhaps sensing the student's disorientation. The veil responds to your familiarity. As your skill grows, the halls will shift less often. Shift? As in physically? Before Amelia could ask, Selwyn stopped before a carved wooden door. She tapped it twice. The wood shimmered and swung open. Your dormitory. The room was surprisingly cozy, dim but warm, lit by floating orbs that pulsed gently like fireflies. 3 beds stood against the walls, draped in deep red quilts embroidered with swirling black sigils. The air smelled faintly of cedar and ink. This will be your home for the year, Selwyn said. Settle in. Supper will begin shortly. She turned to leave, then paused, eyes flicking to Amelia. You, she said softly. Thorn. Amelia froze. Yes, Professor? The pool's reaction to you was unusual. Amelia's mouth went dry. Is this something wrong? Selwyn's gaze dipped, unreadable. No, not wrong, but rare. She stepped closer. Has anything peculiar happened to you recently? Strange magical surges? Instincts that feel unlike your own? Amelia's heart pounded. She thought of the Symbolo Hendido glowing under her sleeve, that pulse of energy near the market, the way Bramblethorn's runes had shivered when she'd passed. Should she say something? Should she lie? She didn't even understand what was happening herself. I'm not sure, Amelia admitted. Selwyn studied her a moment longer. Then she nodded once. If anything does occur, anything at all, you come directly to me. Do you understand? Yes, Professor. Good. Selwyn stepped back. Enjoy supper. She left without another word. The door closed behind her with a soft click. The tall boy took the bed nearest the window. The severe braided girl took the one opposite. Amelia placed her bag on the last bed, and only then allowed herself a slow, shaky breath. She'd made it to Alden Grove Academy. She'd been sorted into a branch. She had a bed, a room, a place. So why did the air around her still feel pressed with invisible weight? Why did the pool glow keep replaying in her mind, darker and stranger each time she thought of it? A soft pulse stirred against her wrist. The symbol Hendido. For a moment she was sure she felt it warm, just slightly. Amelia pressed her sleeve over it, heart racing. Something was happening to her. Something she didn't understand. And whatever it wasn't done yet. Amelia didn't linger in the dormitory for long. As soon as her breathing steadied and she'd tucked her travel cloak beneath the bed, the floating orbs near the ceiling dimmed and brightened in a steady pattern. 3 pulses, pause, 3 pulses again. She assumed, correctly, that this meant something. The severe braided girl spoke for the first time. That's the summons for supper. Her voice was sharp, clipped, as though every word were measured before release. Oh, Amelia said, anxious to break the silence. I'm Amelia, Vesper, the girl interrupted. She picked an invisible speck of dust off her sleeve. Vesper Drake. The tall boy gave a small nod. Rowan Dale. His voice was calm, almost bored, but not unkind. Nice to meet you both, Amelia said. Neither smiled. Right. Veilwinders, she thought. Apparently subtlety extended to social interaction. The 3 left the dormitory, following the shifting corridors back the way they'd come. Or at least Amelia hoped they were going the right way. The walls whispered faintly as they passed, the murals shimmering like illusions drifting just beyond reach. At one point, Amelia could have sworn a painted black fox turned its head to watch them. She picked up her pace. When they finally emerged from the twisting halls into a wider corridor filled with warm, golden light, Amelia released a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. The Nightspire Commons, one of Alden Grove's main thoroughfares, buzzed with students from all years, gathering in streams that flowed toward a pair of large doors at the far end. Amelia and her branchmates merged with the crowd. Tapers floated overhead like drifting lanterns. Laughter echoed down the hall. Older students compared class schedules, gossiped, nudged one another toward familiar friends. Amelia felt strangely out of place in the bustle, like a pebble caught in a river's current, carried forward whether she wanted it or not. Lucas spotted her from across the corridor and waved enthusiastically. His robes had already shifted themselves into the amber-lined style of an ether shaper. He jogged over, nearly tripping on someone's bag. You made it, he said, almost breathless. Was the sorting horrible? Stomach churning? Spiritually traumatic? You look spiritually traumatized. I'm fine, Amelia insisted, though her voice wobbled. Mostly. Lucas frowned. You sure? You look a bit pale. Vesper studied Amelia with a cool, unreadable expression but said nothing. Rowan observed quietly, eyes flicking between Amelia and Lucas with mild curiosity. Before Lucas could question her further, the doors ahead swung open on their own, spilling warm light and fragrant air into the corridor. The Grand Hall, Rowan murmured. Students surged forward. The Grand Hall. Unlike the sorting chamber, the Grand Hall was alive with color and sound. Its ceiling arched like the inside of a vast tree hollow, carved with swirling patterns of leaves, roots, and star-shaped blossoms. Vines of soft blue bioluminescence snaked along the beams, casting a gentle glow over the tables. 4 branching chandeliers, literally branching, as in made of smooth, silver wood, hung overhead, filled with floating crystals that hummed faintly in harmony. Long wooden tables lined the hall, one for each branch. Their surfaces were etched with runes that shifted colors corresponding to the students nearby. The veil-winding table radiated a muted crimson with faint tendrils of black that curled like smoke. Amelia hesitated at the sight of it. Veil-winding still felt heavy, like she was wearing a coat 2 sizes too large. Professor Bramblethorn stood on a platform at the front of the hall, raising his hands for quiet. Welcome, new students. And welcome back, returning scholars of the Great Arbor. Cheering erupted. Bramblethorn waited patiently for it to settle. As always, Alden Grove thrives on your curiosity, your cooperation, and your courage. This year will be full of challenges and discoveries, and perhaps a few pleasant surprises. The older students exchanged amused looks. Amelia wondered what counted as a pleasant surprise here. Something told her it wasn't warm cookies and extra study hours. And now, Bramblethorn continued. Before we feast, the annual flame bloom ceremony. Excited murmurs filled the hall. Lucas whispered, "What's a flame bloom?" "No idea," Amelia whispered back. The chandeliers dimmed. The hall darkened until only the faint glow of the vine lights remained. Then a glowing ember, bright orange, drifted down from the ceiling like a falling leaf. More embers followed, swirling around each other in spirals of flame that cast the hall in flickering light. They gathered above Bramblethorn's hands, which he held cupped before him. The flames twisted, forming a blooming flower of fire, its petals curling outward gracefully. The hall gasped in collective awe. "Tonight," Bramblethorn proclaimed, "we mark the start of a new year, one woven with the threads of your choices, your friendships, and your growing magic." He released the fiery bloom. It split into hundreds of smaller blossoms that floated through the hall, drifting toward the tables. Some landed near plates. Some hovered above students' heads. One settled directly before Amelia, glowing softly like a candle. Thank you for joining me in this chapter. If you enjoyed the reading, I invite you to keep exploring more stories here. Until the next page, and remember, books never end, they only wait to be read again.